So I want to talk about divorce and remarriage. um, the way it's being taught is incorrect. I studied this over years. Okay, and I ran into a lady, a young lady that is, at the bus stop because my car was down. So up near the thrift store, I called it coming back from Walmart, and she had on her headdress and long dress, etc. And I asked her, I say, I noticed that she didn't have any fringes. Typically in my city, if you have the fringes on, that mean you come on your dress. That mean you come from IUIC. But any which way, I asked her, I said, what knowledge do you subscribe to? She was like, what do you mean? I said, well, I like the way you dress. She said, oh, I'm under Geno Jennings. And we started talking. And as the conversation progressed, I started introducing some things that is wrong that he teach that comes out of his own heart and where he twisted. And somehow we got on divorce and remarriage. And after started talking about it, she started, a tear dropped her eyes and said that her ex-boyfriend had left her for her aunt, okay, and divorced her. And she said that she wants children and she wants a family, but she can never have one. I said, well, that's not true. Okay. So any which way, let's go ahead and start in Matthew's 19:9. And I'm going to do a few parts. It says, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication. Now, this is where people will say this is during the espousement period. I'm going to prove that to be incorrect. So the word fornication is porneia, and that means harlotry. So any kind of harlotry she commits. That includes adultery and incest. Okay. So when you go into the law, when you go into Leviticus 20 and also Leviticus 18, it gives you all fornication. See, fornication is nothing but an umbrella. And you have to specify the type of fornication it is. Okay. So for example, if my wife dealt with another man, she fornicated in adultery. If my wife dealt with my father, they have fornicated in incest because by law, that is her father. If she deals with another woman, she fornicated in homosexuality or what they may call sodomy. Okay. Because you need to have an adulterer and an adulteress. If she deals with an animal, she fornicated in bestiality. This is what she'll be put to death for under the Old Testament. Okay. Or even a time when Jesus walked. If she strips at a strip club, she fornicated in whoredom. Okay. So you always have to specify the type of fornication being written of. She's being accused of. You can never say, oh, fornication. Now, Geno Jennings like to use Matthew's 1 where it says Mary was espoused to Joseph and he thought she was pregnant by another guy. So he was minded to put her away because that was his right to put her away because he thought she was pregnant by another man. But first of all, what was he minded of? Right? What was he minded of? And how was he going to put her away? This goes back. First of all, let's go into the book of Leviticus. Leviticus 20 and 10. Okay. So Leviticus 20 and 10 says, and the man that commits adultery with another man's wife, even he that commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Okay. So whether I'm married or not, if I deal with a married woman, I have fornicated in adultery. I am the adulterer. She's the adulteress. Because Geno like to say, well, it's fornication for him and it's adultery. No, it don't work that way. You have to specify the type of adultery. Then it says they shall surely be put to death, meaning they must surely be stoned. Okay. So let's go to see what he was minded of. Remember, adultery is a man who deals with his neighbor's wife. Okay. Let's go to Leviticus 22. Okay. So let's begin at verse 22. If a man be found laying with a woman married to a husband. Okay. So this is married. If they are actually married, then they shall both of them die. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman, so shalt thou put evil from amongst Israel. Okay. Verse 32. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband. Okay. So this is what Mary was. She was espoused. She was betrothed to Joseph. And a man find her in the city and lie with her. Then they shall bring them both out to the gates of the city. And ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, meaning she wasn't raped, being in the city, and the man because he humbled his neighbor's wife. Okay, so that was the sin. If you're espoused and that is your espoused husband, it is still adultery. You are humbling your neighbor's wife. Even though they're not married, she is promised to him. So if she deals with another man, she will be fornicating in adultery because she's committing it against the man that she's promised to because he's paying that dowry for her. So that would be adultery. Then look what it says. So thou shalt put evil from among you. So he was minded to put evil from amongst them. So he was going to put her away. It says privily. He was going to do it privately. What you mean? How's it going to be privately? You just going to tell her in secret? I don't want to deal with you. That's not secret, because then everybody going to want to know, where is he at? She's pregnant. So what he was going to do, he was minded to put her away. That was the righteous thing to do. Then if she was espoused to you and she dealt with another man, then the righteous thing to do would be to kill her, to put evil from among you. That was he was minded to do, because he thought she committed adultery against him, because dealing with another man while you're engaged is adultery. Okay. The type of fornication is adultery. Okay. Now we got that out the way. Okay, so now let's go back. We understand that fornication. Oh, also when you go to 1 Corinthians 5:1, it says that there is fornication among you. That's not much is mentioned among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife, right? Leviticus 18 give you the laws of incest. The type of fornication that was being committed was incest, because he's uncovering his father's nakedness, even though she is married. That is not adultery. That will be incest, and they will have to be judged for that. He uncovered his father's nakedness. They would have to be put to death according to the law. You see what I'm saying? So we got that out the way. So now let's go back to Matthews 19:9. Okay. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife. Okay. So he's modifying Moses' law. Okay. Except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. Now let's break that down. Okay, so he's modifying law. So 3 criteria must be met. 1, she never fornicated in your marriage. Okay. 2, you put her away and marry someone else. Okay. So now let's pause right there. When you go into Matthew 10:5, he says, he commands them, don't go into any other nation teaching, because the way it was being taught to the Israelites in Judah at this particular time, it cannot be taught the same way to anybody else. So at this particular time, this only applied to the kingdom of Judah. Okay, because the other nations did not have the law at this particular time. Okay, so, and he commanded them not to teach. So this only applied to them at this particular time. So 3 criteria must be met for it to be adultery. She's loyal to you. You put her away and remarry. Okay, those 3. If those 3 criteria aren't met, it's not adultery. So if you don't put her away and you take another wife, you are not in adultery. Okay, because polygyny was lawful here. It has to be the death of a testator for a new covenant to come in. So that wouldn't be adultery. Okay, if she was to leave you and you took another wife in her place or whatever, there is no sin, because you did not put her away. You would have to physically divorce her and marry someone else in her place if she was loyal. Okay. However, if because he gives 3 actions and a determining factor. The determining factor is fornication. Did she fornicate in your marriage? If she did fornicate in your marriage, that activates the determining factor. You can then remarry. You can then put her away and remarry, because she fornicated in your marriage, and that would not be adultery. Come in for part 2.